The old trick. About 9 months ago, my wife told me she kissed a man. I was devastated. I love this woman with every breath of my being. I was heartbroken after she told me. But little did I know how deep the rabbit hole goes. It turns out she and a coworker had physical encounters, and she was even ready to leave me. She wrote him things that she wanted to do with him that I never heard after 12 years of marriage. She would lie to me, saying she would go be with a girlfriend, when instead she would go to his place when his wife would not be there. My wife actually removed his wife's image from her coworker's wedding photo and inserted herself into it via Photoshop. She even played with fonts of her first name and his last name on the computer. I read in her journal that she wished I would leave her so she could be free to be with the other man. She basically fell out of love with me, and I'm still devastated. And though she is willing to do anything to repair the damage, I am still a wreck. I go to work feeling like garbage. I come home feeling like garbage. I see images of her and him at least 3 times every hour. I have nightmares about it. She is trying so hard to repair, but I have changed so much that I do not know who I am anymore. I feel like I am too damaged, and she should move on. I have seen a therapist and we have had counseling as well, but they did nothing to repair my heart or make me feel any better. I feel like a shadow of my former self, of who I used to be. One therapist told me that because of how much I cared for her, it not only hurts that much worse, but it will take 3 to 5 years for me to fully recover if I ever do. I love my wife, but not the same as I once did. I do not know how to explain it. I do not look upon her the same as I once did. I do not adore her as much as I once did. I want to, but something stops me. I have had times where I thought I have let it go, but the rage builds and builds. I sometimes just want to crawl into a hole. And I feel like this big walking that basically has me feeling abandoned, though she is wanting to make things right. Sometimes I cry myself to sleep. At times I tell her that she should leave me for him if she wanted him so badly. I am so worn out from feeling this way. The real deal is he cut her off. He decided to stay with his wife. And I feel like second best. Like I am the plan B or the default. If it doesn't work out with the other man, I still have my husband kind of thing. One therapist I saw said he believes I have a stress disorder. I feel like I am in pieces. My wife said she misses the old me. But she destroyed him, and she also destroyed me. The only reason I'm still home is because I still love my wife, though not the same as it once was. We have 4 children together, and I have a job to do in raising them with as much love as I can muster. Is it normal to feel this way? I feel like my wife is trying to reassemble a broken vase, but more and more pieces show up daily. She hates herself for her decisions and what it has caused me to feel. She will not go back to him, and his wife knows all about it. Comments: the only reason she is with you is because her lover dumped her. She would be back with him if he wanted to. I wouldn't waste 1 more second of my life with a person like your wife if I were you. You are broken because you loved her. You say you still love her? I disagree. You still love the person your wife was. She is gone now. That person changed into someone who would cheat on her loving husband and will only get back with him once her lover dumped her. Imagine this. She told you that she kissed this guy because she wanted you to help her deal with the situation. The situation? Why the hell are you still with your wife? Don't waste any more time on this shell of a person unworthy of being called a significant other. Expose her to her family and separate. File for divorce. Unless she shows you why she should be worth reconciling, you should move on and remove this cancer from your life. Was divorce ever discussed? OP responds, what have I won? Consistent heartache. Feeling like I'm always second best to her every time I am around her. Every hour she is texting me messages saying how I am the only one for her. And she blames her depression and skewed mind for her choices. She is trying hard, but she still knows right from wrong, depression or not. She continuously tells me she loves me, always concerned for my mental state and what she did, always reminding me how much she cares for me. But, see, she said some of this stuff while she was having an emotional affair with him. How do I know what is not BS? I am trying, but every time I see her I see this other man with her. Sometimes, Just want to see if that would make her happy or sad. And then only then would I ever really know. I'd like to think she would be sad, but I do not know. In my mind, it would make sense for her to be sad. She tells me she regrets it all. She tells me she truly loves me. She tells me she made the mistake of her life. It has been a year, and I still feel like a piece of garbage, one that was worth gambling away. During intimacy, I see him with her and have to quit. I want this to go away. She seems to be more healed than I am. Is she covering it up? I do not know. She became quite good at that last year. All I can do is my best, and be the best husband and father I could be. She read on here what some have said I should do. I have no intentions of divorcing, but feelings of inadequacy are always there. I do not know why I am worth having if I am not what she wanted. I wonder how long it will take her to realize that, and do it all over again. She says my changes will be a lifelong reminder of what she did, but I wonder if there will be a time when she will not forgive herself and just give it up and try this again. I consistently have nightmares of seeing my wife and this man. I wake up in sweats and often shower at 3 a.m. because of it. Comments: your wife is the nightmare. Kick her to the curb as she deserves. And most of your mind movies will diminish quickly. Until then, she is a walking, talking trigger, sucking your life energy like a vampire. Sorry if that is not helpful, but I call them like I see them. I had them pretty much every night for close to 3 years. Then the divorce was final and I moved out. I have only had one since then, triggered by my serial cheating ex-husband fishing around to see if I maybe wanted to try again. Honestly, leaving was the only thing that made them stop, because something in my subconscious knew, long before I realized it, that there were so many betrayals of every size and type imaginable in my marriage that I would never know about them all. Now that we're divorced, I no longer concern myself with his deceit. I will never have the whole story, but I have enough, and he's not my problem anymore. My inner voice no longer has to scream warnings at me through my dreams about the man I married. OP responds, what has been lost is my dream. That dream being of myself and my wife growing old together, growing old with bushy eyebrows for my grandkids to pull on as my wife would be baking cookies and such. That was my dream that was shattered. Is there a future now? Now? I do not know. I have no vision of the future. Perhaps it was what I wanted and now I cannot see. If it happens later in life, great. But will the dream be altered in any way? Will she be able to be with me and feel trusted? Because it will be a very long time for me to trust her again. And if that takes too long for her, then I guess it was never gonna work due to her choices. Which pretty much means she would do this again. I mean, when you throw away your spouse like garbage, you essentially throw away any meaningful memory, whether good or bad. Everything we built together becomes a waste of time, especially if I was worth gambling away for someone else. Memories became worthless to me when I read that she loved another. She tells me to stop living in the past, so I guess I really should think that our 13 years of marriage are not worth having either. After all, it is in the past. If good memories are not enough to make you happy and stay loyal and true to your spouse, how can you truly see a good future? I met a lady in church today who said she is eternally grateful that her husband's ex ran off with another man. They were married for 7 years, and after the 5th child was born, she up and left. She had been talking to an ex-boyfriend for months, and he made her feel special and forgot what being a wife and mother was about. They divorced and she did not want the kids, so it was an easy split. The deal was her husband got everything in the deal if he granted a clean and fast divorce. Fast forward 4 years and they have a wonderful family. She is grateful every day that his ex-wife cheated on him. She not only helped heal him, but also gave her a real chance in raising children, since she is not able to have any, which helped cause her divorce from her first husband, as he fathered 3 with 2 different women behind her back. She mentioned that the ex of her husband actually knocked on the door one day, and her husband let her in. She started off by saying she made a huge mistake and asked if there was a chance for her to come home and make things right. Then from the kitchen comes herself, and he introduces her to his ex-wife, and the ex leaves without saying a word. She goes to her car and sobs for over 2 hours. Turns out, the guy she left her family for had 3 other girlfriends while they were living together. She had bounced from relationship to relationship, and eventually ended up back home living with her parents during much of the last 4 years. After no contact for 4 years, she comes back thinking she can just continue where she left off. Now she's claiming this lady has stolen her family from her. Yet she does not know how much pain her husband and children went through. He is a wonderful father and loving husband, from what she said. You just do not throw your family away like garbage and expect different results. There are a lot of things I would like to say to this woman. Like, how would you like to be one of those children in that their mom chose to be with a boyfriend instead of being there when you needed them the most while growing up? Things that happened and are still bothering you because you feel counseling has been worthless and want to know why. Here's mine. No problems lying to me. From the minute she drops me off saying I love you to her telling me she is going over to a friend's house after work, she would have left me and the children for him if she was not being honest, and looked to me as nothing more than a babysitter to the kids instead of her husband. She resents the children and does not want them. She wishes me to be gone so she can be free from me and the obligations of our marriage. She hides emails and messages and attempts to lock down her accounts from me. She tells friends at work how exciting her affair is and brags. She tells her friends how exciting it is being with another man. She explains that she does not care for me and exchanges dirty pictures with her AP. She feels that I am unattractive, as the AP's body drives her insane. She is taken aback when the AP tells her he wants to have sex with her. All she wants is a divorce so she can be with her AP while he can have the house, the kids, the dog, and everything else. All I want is Jamie. I know I will have to deal with my family and parents, but I am ready for my happiness with Jamie. She tried to lure her AP to our home to sleep together, but she became the aggressor in their affair. When he tried to end it, she became angry at him for wanting to be a better father and not have sex with her. In a letter to him, she admitted that she had strong feelings for him, but during this time she completely abandoned me on all levels. She doesn't care about the children in either home, and doesn't mind being labeled a homewrecker. She lies to me about being with her girlfriend, but instead has physical encounters with her AP at his mother's house. She forgets about me completely while she is with him, and plans sexual encounters and meetings when the AP's wife is out of town. She uses gifts such as a car, cell phone, and computer as weapons against me. My tokens of care and affection mean nothing to her and are just tools for her affair. I made this list 2 years ago when everything came to light. It was a rant at the time, but I still have contact with my counselor because these things are still fresh in my mind. The other day, I was triggered and couldn't sleep while staying at a resort where we had previously stayed the night. I had asked her if she was involved with someone else, and she looked into my eyes and promised me that there was no one else but me. But nothing works, and we are doing well for the most part. She is doing better than me. She suffered from major depression during her pregnancy when all of this was happening. I was the lone dad and husband who was abandoned. I protected the children from her during this time. It still hurts me to this day. It was like a light switch for her, going from depression and fantasy to reality. She has done everything in her power to make up for it, but I have changed. I don't think I will ever trust her completely. I will never forget what happened. I have forgiven her, but I will never forget. She probably wants me to forget more than anything, but she can't because she created the situation. Just as she can never take back the feeling of having an affair outside of our marriage. We both have to live with that. 2 months later, after much heartache, I urged my wife to get a better job to help her improve herself and feel better about her career. So, she got the job she wanted and I was happy for her, until I found out some disturbing information. Her last affair was with a coworker, and some of you know the hell I went through. Many think I should have ended it. Her new job is with a storage facility company, where she will be helping to manage 2 facilities. She works at both during the week, managing and selling storage units. My issue is that both facilities have apartments, and each has a single man as the live-in manager. I want to say something, but I need to show her that I trust her. I'm internally freaking out. Should I just prepare for round 2? I think I will let it play out. Perhaps I am being overly cautious and getting carried away. 2 years later, she told me the other day that she really misses the fun-loving husband I used to be before her affair. She said I am not the man she married, and that I have become very cynical. A cynical person with a short fuse who wants the old me back. Our marriage counselor has already told her that the husband she once knew will probably never return. To tell you the truth, I'm not sure I even know who the old me is. In my opinion, anyone who has endured the struggles of marriage and raising children will inevitably undergo changes, regardless of who they used to be. If she no longer wants to be married to me, she is free to go elsewhere, just as she tried to do before, which ultimately led to this whole situation. She has no idea of the daily hell I am living through. I've tried to explain it to her, but she has no clue. I doubt she ever will, unless she experiences it herself. I would never wish that upon her. But I cannot deny that if we did not have children, I would have left the minute I found out about her affair and how she wished I were gone so she could be with her other man without any consequences. I will always love her, but I cannot give her what she wants in terms of who I am as a man. I have given her my heart once again, but she has locked it up. However, this time I have a duplicate key and will take it back if necessary. I have told her that I will not fight for our marriage. I will not do anything to violate it, but I will not fight to save it if she tries this again. I refuse to be the person I once was, and she must accept me for who I am now, or what I have become. This is not my fault, and I will not be blamed for the changes I have gone through. She needs to take a look at what she has created and accept me for who I am. I am not trying to punish her in any way, but I also have to respect myself and will not tolerate any nonsense. She hates the fact that I will always have to look over my shoulder, but what she doesn't know is that I have mirrors and steel plates covering my back for that dagger as well. She said she never thought an affair would affect me the way it has. She believed that she could always come back to me if she didn't like the other man anymore. If that is the mentality of a cheater, then reality must be a harsh wake-up call. Comments 1. What has your wife done to show you that she is no longer that woman, and that she would never cheat on you again? 2. Has she read any books? After the affair is a good one for her to start with. If she does some work on her own to empathize with you and show you that she understands the devastation she has caused, it may help rebuild trust. 3. Do you believe you will ever be able to trust her again? If she has not taken the time to read books or reflect on how she came to a point where she could be unfaithful and use you as a backup plan, it is understandable that you may not be convinced she has truly changed. However, if she has put in the effort and you still feel this way, it may be that infidelity is a deal breaker for you, and it may be better to end the marriage instead of living with someone you distrust and resent for the rest of your life. OP responds, "Oh, and let me add that she constantly tells me she wishes she could go back in time and stop herself from engaging in the affair. She wants to talk to her past self and warn her about the huge mistake she's about to make." My response the other day was, "Me too. I would go back and do the same thing, but instead of proposing to you, I would warn you that you will have an affair and tear me apart." This comment made her cry for days. She said she never thought about the impact an affair could have on someone and how it can change them. She is starting to realize that she had the power to shape the person I was. She had the power to help me become the person she once loved and cherished. But she has no power over that now. She can only see it and accept it. Am I better for it? Honestly, I don't know. But I won't be like that again. Not for any woman. I gave in too much. There is nothing she can do to show me that it will not happen again. I can forgive, but that doesn't mean I will forget. I live in fear, not because of it happening again, but of what I might change into if it happens again. She doesn't want to read any books, because she does not feel they would help. I am not sure either. I read some and they did nothing for me. Just like counseling, they did nothing for me except write checks to therapists. Comments. You were destroyed and so was your marriage. You are like a ghost. Your passing was so tragic that you haunt your marriage, unable to be happy. You love her, but that's because you are afraid not to. Try letting go. Maybe it ends the marriage, maybe it doesn't. You sound like a hostage. You are trapped, but you won't go through any open window or door. I know, first ghost, now hostage, right? My point is that your mind keeps you in this existence. Your prior post noted that you were told that it would take 3 to 5 years to get over this. The problem is, this is not like a cold or the flu. You can't just rest in your sick bed until it passes. You have to do some things. You chose R, and I'm not sure that you gave D a fair vetting. The thing about D or R is that just because you start does not mean you have to finish it. You can always stop, look at the other options, seriously consider them, feel them, want them, embrace them, let yourself know that you can leave, let yourself dream about how good life would be. Right now you think of her with some other guy instead of thinking of not being with her. Maybe not with anyone in particular, but just free. You've got to stop seeing her as a prize. Then you might decide to stay or leave. I imagine the old you liked being in control of his destiny. You can still are, but do so out of a decision process that comes from strength and knowing that you could live very well divorced but have chosen to stay. Either route is hard. You may very well be on target with R right now too. It sucks, but still on target with how you feel. Good luck. Holy crap. She was having a physical relationship with a piece of crap while pregnant with your baby. She wished you and the kids were gone. She made a serious attempt to run off with a married POS. What the hell are you doing with her? It's not too late to regain your pride. Burn it all down? Let yourself see that you can thrive without her. As long as you're with her, you'll be an injured man that she finds lacking. She'll never get that old husband, just like you can no longer have the wife that hasn't been defiled. She wished death upon you and the kids or came back to you after being dumped by POS. OP responds, how long does it take? Is it based on the level of betrayal? I have not asked anything from her lately. I don't want her feeling remorseful and crap because I don't want her ducking pity and crying and crap like that. I want her to be busy and not think about it as it affects the kids negatively. It was like that before. I do not want it. The therapist could be right though. I would feel this way the rest of my life with any woman. So my opinion is, might as well be with this one, as the damage is probably permanent. Who knows, as only time will tell. To this day I do not know what I did wrong. She said I did everything right, and I am not at fault. She's damn ducking right about that. But it doesn't help me clear out the mind movies and nightmares. It's not fair to another woman either if I were to get a different life, for me to wake up in the middle of the night with clammy hands. Because the one person I gave my all to was ducking another man in my dreams. But I do not want another wife either, so let me make that perfectly clear. Perfectly clear, you guys are absolutely right. I need to go back to being myself, and not what she wants me to be, or what she had. I started somewhat last night. I will go back to the gym on Wednesday as I am helping my parents move over the next few evenings. But first I will focus on my grooming. I used to love wet shaving, showers and classic aftershaves. Here's a fun story, at least the men might enjoy it. My wife, however, does not like my favorite grooming equipment because I smelled like her grandfather. So she ended up buying me Axe products for the shower, deodorant and soap. Then she got me an electric razor to use for the past 5 or 6 years. I've tried various ones as they are faster, but I never enjoyed them and hate the feeling on my skin. And to top it off, she also got me an Axe type cologne. I hate them all. Well, I recently found a shoebox in the basement with some of my old shaving equipment. My $170 silver tip badger brush, G-Safety razor, unopened Dr. Harris bath soap, and my classic Clubman barbershop scented aftershave and shave powder. I also found my Clubman scented shampoo, still in great condition. I threw away all the Axe products and donated the electric shavers. I have never felt so refreshed. After my shower, I whipped up a nice lather with the brush and shave soap, put in a fresh feather blade, and did 3 glorious passes. Then I finished off with Clubman Classic Aftershave Lotion. Do I care if I smell like an old man? No, I love it. And she better like it too, because that's what she's gonna get from now on. The funny part is, I recently learned that this style of shaving has a cult following. I even ordered a stand for my equipment, which was expensive 8 years ago. And you know what? She has to see it on top of the bathroom counter because I refuse to hide it in the medicine cabinet. I also ordered a new razor, Clubman shaving soap, and pre-shave oil. I've also decided to go back to a different counselor. My friend recommended one who used to be a Marine. I've never been in the military, but I need to stay away from female therapists. My wife may be more comfortable with them, but I'm gonna do things my way. I will continue to update this thread as I work towards becoming the person I need and want to be. If my wife doesn't like it, she can either support me or go somewhere else. I need to explain to her what I'm missing. I used to do a lot of kind-hearted things, like building up bicycles as a hobby. I would take old, beat-up bikes and upgrade them with better parts, making them smooth and enjoyable to ride. I would spend my own money on them, and then give them away to less fortunate kids in the neighborhood. It made me feel good, and I loved being involved in the community. One time, a 10-year-old who I had given a bicycle to a month prior came to me crying about his bike. I asked him what was wrong, and he said it was perfect and he loved riding it because it was so smooth. What was actually happening was that his single mother was selling the bike. I asked if he was in trouble, and he said no. He explained that his mother needed money for rent. I went down on one knee in front of him and said, sometimes in life, we have to make sacrifices for things that are more important. Having a roof over your head and food to eat is far more important than having a bicycle. So I set him up with a bike that he could ride all the time, but he had to store it in my shed since he only lived 4 doors down. I used to be that kind of guy. Now, unless it's my kids, I don't give a crap. I built 7 last year. Guess what? They're still in my basement, and they're all mine. And if another lady did the same thing to her boy with a bike, I gave it to him. I will get that woman out. Some people think I'm giving my wife a free pass. I am ignoring nothing. This morning she woke me up crying, telling me how sorry she is. She has been sabotaging her own life with her decisions. She is now accepting the fact that this is the new me. I told her that if I feel like I am not much better in a few years, it would be better for us to split. I have stayed true to my vows. If she cannot make me feel like those vows are worth keeping for the rest of my life, it's over. But to tell you the truth, I do not think I could ever be with another woman. I used to love the idea and the institution of marriage. I just never thought this would happen. The same thing happened with the OM's wife. Her and I have met for lunch a few times to go over options and set boundaries for our spouses. We felt like we were having to oversee stupid kids and find ways to ground them. She eventually had a revenge affair on him last year. She said he was devastated and acted as if he was allowed to do it, while she was not. What the heck is that? He has had affairs with 3 different women, and played mind games with all of them, including my wife. We are both trying our best, but sometimes I need an outlet. The last 2 weeks have been pretty good. The military counselor I have been seeing has brought several things to light that I never thought of. He also mentioned that the love letter and the images will never go away, even with a different woman. He said things like that just leave scars that do not hurt, but you can still see or remember the hurt. He says, if I can stop feeding from that hurt, I should be able to break away from some of it. He also said my wife is remorseful for everything. Her ex was a way for her to release anger at herself for hurting me and ruining what we had. Not because she was stuck with me. Her wanting me and the kids gone was just to be free from obligation. Her depression was triggered by the pregnancy, which I had never heard of, but he said it is very common and very real. I just did not know. He also said the other guy is nothing more than an animal. He has done this with 4 other women since my wife. He knows how to get into their heads and the times to do it. I don't read into that too much because I could not care less. I gave him a broken nose and a concussion. My wife still hates herself for her actions. She said she has real trouble looking into my eyes. and seeing how much I have changed, knowing that she brought out those changes in me. I was moved by the way she explained to me how she wishes she could erase that part of her life. It wasn't because of what it did to her, as she said she has overcome the issues and feelings of false love that she had, but it's what it did to me and how things are forever changed. She is having a hard time living with herself for what she did to me. I told her to stop and talk to me, so she has. She told me the other day that she is going to let my new self play out and support me in all aspects of it. Basically, as long as I do not stray from the marriage and stay a good father and husband, I can do whatever the heck I want. She even bought me a new shaving cream that I actually like. This stuff is pretty good. It uses a shaving brush, and it's not a gel. So she's on board with some changes. I bought some hunting toys the other day and she said it was cool. She is encouraging me to engage in activities that I used to get complaints about. I am starting to feel like perhaps the man I am becoming was always there, but just needed a chance to come out. I was just needing a reason to surface. Doc says it has always been me and I chose to suppress. So deep down I was always a jerk. A month later, I met with the spouse of my wife's former AP a couple of times, just to discuss how to punish our partners. Last week I received a text message from her asking to call. I called the next day. She then told me her husband was cheating again with another woman, and wanted to know if I was still considering divorce. I asked her why, and she responded by saying that I am a good man and my wife must be completely insane to cheat on someone like me. I thanked her for the compliment and expressed my sympathy for her situation. I made it clear that I'm not interested in her at all. However, she became relentless in the following days. 2 nights ago, she even called my house and told my wife that she had slept with me. My wife asked her when, and she gave a time when we were out of town as a family, so her lie did not hold up. I believe this woman is very troubled and is just trying to grab onto anything, including men who are not available. Last night I blocked her and she sent me a Facebook message with a lewd picture of herself. I told her she needs help and then blocked her on there as well. She is clearly unstable. A couple of months later, my wife's former AP works for a software company that assists with accounting and assets. The company I work for, which is a massive worldwide corporation, was considering purchasing their software license. This man works for them and is the main software trainer. He shows companies like ours how to use it, and it is supposed to save us over $1 million in administration costs each year. I noticed him in the room, and he noticed me as well. Before the deal was finalized the following week, I told my boss about my issue, and how I was not comfortable being around this man again. I even said I would rather quit than have to deal with him. I explained what had happened between him and my wife and how I had confronted him and punched him in the nose the last time. I told my boss that I wanted to do it again yesterday. We had a long talk, and then my boss and his boss had a long talk. After that, the CEO and my boss had a long talk. My company has my back and we decided to forego the deal. An email was sent to their company this afternoon, politely declining their offer. My situation was not mentioned by name, but it was brought up, and they likely knew who it was, as I had caused a scene at their company's parking lot 3 years ago. My boss told me that the CEO does not want to do business with a company that employs a man like that. He said they were set to make over $1 million from us, plus a maintenance contract. It's unfortunate for them. As for him, I don't know. And I don't care if he still has a job. As long as anything affiliated with him is not around me, I am content. In conclusion, the last update we had was that the OP is still with his wife. Maybe they are meant for each other, who knows? Perhaps they are staying together for the sake of their young child. This is one of the rare situations where I believe they should stay together because they are truly meant for each other. Do you agree? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more updates and stories.